Hello and a very warm welcome to Bharata First. I'm Frankrausanpereira. You're watching Frank Talk. First, let me inform you about Bharata First Knowledge Center, an initiative that will help each one of you and transform the way you learn. You can go to our website kc.bharatafirst.com for more details. Register now and avail the limited period early bird offer. It's a learning experience like none other and will not only help you in your competitive exams journey, but will help you in life itself and become a better Bharatiya. kc.bharatafirst.com for more details. Now, since you're here, I would like to thank you for your continued support. For those of you who haven't already subscribed, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then all notifications. Do follow our social media handles for all the latest updates, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter to get some incisive content. The Bharata First team runs a daily Big Picture quiz. Please do participate by going through the description in Big Picture videos. Here are the UPI IDs for those of you who would like to come forward and contribute. A small contribution that you make will be a giant leap for us to keep bringing you this content. So do continue to show your love and support. I need it now more so than ever. In case you have trouble with UPI IDs, you can click on the payment link in the description of this video and follow the steps. All this information along with some must-see recommendations are in the description of the video. Please go through it. And now on to the program. The Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, there is so much that is spoken about this almost 100-year organization. But what does it stand for? How has it evolved? And what are the organization's core principles? To talk about it, I have with me on the program Ratan Sharda, author and RSS researcher. Mr. Sharda, welcome first and foremost to Bharata First. It's a pleasure having you here.
I'm wishing you very well for this new venture you started.
Thank you so very much. So let's talk about the evolution of the Sangh and what it is today. So how has it evolved into being what we are seeing the RSS as today?
See, RSS is 96-year-old organization and one of the rare ones which has survived the vagaries of time. Generally, organizations have either withered away, or especially in India, or they have broken into so many pieces you don't know which is the real and which is the new factor coming out of it. So this nature of this organization of being around and continuously evolving with time and without perceptively changing its views and its ideas is one of its core, organizational skill that one should understand. As far as evolution is concerned, it started with one shakha in an open ground. In fact, the organization first was it was decided by 20 people, around 20 people, to have an organization which will talk about Hindu organization or Hindu unity, disciplined, high character citizens to be made, as we call, man-made organization, man-making organization, and strive for Hindu Rashtra. So that was the beginning principle, which was decided on 1925 of Vijayadashmi. But the organization that we see today, the Shakha, started in April after many months. So from there on, from one Shakha, it went on adding more and more people, more and more organizations. And as an organization which was run by people, as a what you call family people, just this, then slowly the idea of that college-going students could give full time, they could go out and study elsewhere and also start work of RSS was added. Then some people who were serving, they were requested to go out and serve somewhere else and start RSS work. Then it added one more element was added that one could go and do nothing but only do RSS work and only do as much that is required to have his living, because there is no fund at all. So from there on, the RSS shakas kept on growing. Then as the need required, uniform was added. As the need required, Guru Dakshina was added. As the need required in 1939, when it had reached many provinces and it was understood it will be now all India organization. Completely new set of instructions, completely new set of ideas were added. So all the orders in RSS became Sanskrit. All the local languages are used in local shakas. Then a new prayer was created at that time. And all the structure that you see today, most of it, I would say even 80% of it can be said what was decided in 1939, and new elements kept on adding. But basically, the structure, the orders, the programs evolved. That was one of the major points. And every 10 years, there was some meeting, large meeting with very limited people, a long meeting where new ideas are added, new organizational issues are added. So, like, collective songs, what you call Sangi Geet, those were added. Vayaktik Geet or individual songs were added. Then stories from a historical perspective, or what you call Subhashit in Sanskrit, were added. Then Bharat Bhakti Stotra was added, which had the name of hundreds of Indians from ancient time to modern times who had done something great for the society. So these things kept on adding. And as from daily evening shaka, then there was a requirement that what happens to people who are doing business, who are into professions. So morning and evening, or morning and night shakas were added. That was during the time of Parasaheb Deva, the second Satsang channel. At that time, a very young, strapping young man of 16, 18 years who started this practice. Then annual camps were added, then training camps were added. So there are training camps from 1 year, then it became 2, 3 years. So 3 years of training camps of 1 month each, where a person who wanted to become a worker or karyakarta would train himself for 1 month, giving complete time and energy for intellectual and physical exercises. So basically, RSS was meant to what we call as man-making organization, where we strive to create people with high character, high strength, good value system, incorruptible, and ready to give time and get ready to give the time and the strength for the society. So the idea of giving something out of your own pocket was very new to us. So we in RSS pay for camps from our own back pocket, for picnics from your own pocket, running shaka out of own pocket. So to give something of our own, beginning with the time, is a unique element that is in RSS. Slowly, a person learns to give more time. Sometimes he ends up giving every time beyond his service or his job. And then he says, okay, I'll give life. So you give your life for 2 years, 3 years, or entire life to serve the society. So this self-sacrificing nature is what you get trained in RSS. Then they go out, they'll work in different organizations. They may work in RSS, or they may work in other organizations. Some will join politics, some will go to student organizations, some will go to labor field, and they will work or they will start a social service organization. So that is how it evolved over time. And then new elements kept on adding, new organizations kept on growing, which we call affiliates, or sometimes we call parivar. Some people call parivar. Sometimes we call them inspired organizations. So there are hundreds and thousands of such organizations which came out of RSS Swayamsevak. So this principle was defined by Dr. Hedgevar long back. When there were about 50 shakas, they said, it's a serious game that guy is playing. What is he doing? Earlier, they were laughing at him. That 35-year-old doctor at that time, 30 was very senior age. What is he doing playing with the boys? When it became serious, they asked him, what do you want to do? He said, we don't want to do anything. We want to create people who will do everything. So that is the basic idea of RSS.
Absolutely. So, three or four, key points that I want to take forward with you from your answer. Basically, you spoke about one of the core principles being the establishment of a Hindu Rashtra. Does that principle exist even today, and is that not contradictory to the constitution?
See, first of all, Hindu Rashtra is a cultural concept which is not against any constitution. Because when you say Hindu, you talk of cultural sense of Hindu Rashtra. Secondly, we are a Hindu Rashtra. We are not trying to create a Hindu Rashtra. What RSS says is that we are a Hindu Rashtra once we accept that nature of the country, the nature of this nation, not country, or rather Rashtra, which is not the Western world of nation, which is a cultural geographical unit with common culture, which pervades all over India, right from north to south, west to east. I can give thousands of examples how we are same in so many principles, or similar, I would say. So RSS believes basically what we are doing is we are one, expressing our own identities, our own ideas in plural ways. So it is not unity in diversity, it's diversity expressed in a unity expressed in diversity. So if we say that, that means with our own common traits, we are a Hindu Rashtra. If we recognize this nature of our Hinduness or Hindu elements, then we can progress accordingly. As Dindayal Upadhyay put it, it's a chiti of a Rashtra, innate nature of a Rashtra, which defines its policies. For example, the innate nature of India, or Bharat, or Hindustan, is taking a human being as a complete human being who has not just physical needs, has also spiritual needs. A nation that gives you, which talks about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which talks of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, which talks about world being one family. That is the concept which world needs to know. The world needs to respect every kind of diversity, respect each ideology, each country's own space. That is the basic principle that Hindu Rashtra expounds. So America has a different chiti, Europe has a different chiti, China has a different chiti. They have evolved their policies based on that chiti. Unfortunately, we have divorced ourselves from the very basic nature of this country. So we have copied West blindly. We have copied communism element. We have copied capitalist elements. That is the reason we are a confused people. We have no clarity. So this is a settled thought that we have, that Hindu-ness, Hindu nature, which is present in everybody, whatever religion he may be following or she may be following. It is up to you or somebody else to slowly recognize this sense of unity, to understand that one may be Christian or a Parsi or a Muslim, but one who has risen in India has the same basic habits, traditions, culture of behaving, looking at your motherland, looking at your family and country, which is very different from where the other people look at. We don't have social contract theory. We don't say individual is the ultimate and everything must follow the individual. We don't say state is everything, where individual has no value. That is capitalism, communism. We say individual is part of a family is a part of society is a part of the nation, and that's the place of the universe. So if we are good, everything turns out to be good, and you cannot live in isolation. So this basic nature of Hinduness, once we recognize, then there is no clash with any constitution. Constitution didn't have a word like secularism earlier on. Why? Because it was an innate quality of Hindus. It is not the Western secularism we talk about, which says separation of state and religion. That is a concept we don't agree with. We don't agree with adharmi or nidharmi rajya, which is amoral or immoral. We talk about value system or dharmic system, which is not religion, based on which we respect each and every religion, every faith. That was the founding principle of constitution, which was distorted in 1976, and this word of secularism was added. And when Nehruji said that state and religions must be separate, or communism says that, it doesn't suit, because their own leaders' wives go to temples. They also follow certain traditions and principles, because it is our nature. We cannot disown that just to copy others.
And in this Bharata Varsha, is there place for non-Hindus or people who do not follow the
Naturally,
Sanatana Dharma?
naturally. Because as I said, when we say that there is one truth, every rishi speaks of it differently. Ekam satvipar bahuda vadanti, and we just don't tolerate others. We respect others also, and they should respect us. So whether you are Christian or a Muslim or anybody else, especially Christians and Muslims, 99% of them are Indians with the same DNA. As I said, same culture. Why does a Kerala Christian differ so much from the Assamese Christian or Nagaland Christian? Because their local culture is different. They don't copy Rome. Especially if you look at Kerala, they don't copy Rome. Most of the Keralites are very different in their customs. Why did church ended up copying Hindu rituals? Because they realized that local Christians who have been converted don't really find that kind of identification which they have with the Indian Hindu traditions. So they had to do this appropriation or digestion to convince that we are same. So on the one side, you degrade other religions, you abuse other religions. On the other side, you have to accept that part of Hinduism, that we are having certain traditions and cultures. So this identity cannot be subdued, cannot be destroyed. So that is the difference. We say you are culturally Hindu. It is up to those communities to slowly realize this particular oneness. It doesn't mean they have to change the faith. Those who don't want to believe in it, truth is said. It is stated that your DNA is mine. Your forefathers are my forefathers. Whether you agree or not, you will slowly agree. That is the stress that Sangha puts on. It doesn't want you to convert. It doesn't want to see a no place. Everybody should have same respect, same law. There should be no discrimination. So what is communal about it? To
Going
state that
back, yeah.
my religion, my dharma is the bedrock of this country, you can't deny that. You tell me which other country has this low police patrolling per lakh as India. Why it is so? Because by nature we are dharmic. That sense of law, that sense of duty, that sense of obligation to each other, that is the strength of our country. That is why We have survived so well with least criminal cases per lakh, and with least police presence. That sense of dharma, once we kill that, we'll have as much chaos as USA has or UK has with 10 times more police force. So unless we recognize the strength and we say dharma is bad, because we have not understood the very nature that is inherent in our own personality. You have a sense of dharma, right? You don't need to be a Hindu to understand the sense of dharma, because my obligation. See what has happened. In Constitution, we kept on talking about the rights of the citizen. If we had understood the chitti of this nation, we would have talked of duties of the citizens also. Like in Hindu dharma, we have Pitru dharma, Matru dharma, Putra dharma, Guru dharma. We have a rin or debt to the society, to the father, mother, and guru. If we had taught these duties to our citizens, we would have behaved much better as a citizen.
Absolutely. So it's all in our DNA, it's in our genes, and that's the
Yes, we
sooner
have to
we realize
recognize.
it,
You have to
sooner
realize it. So RSS is
yes,
trying to make you realize, that's all. It doesn't
right.
matter what religion you follow, or today you'll say you are insulting me by calling me Hindu. But there were others who said, okay, we are Hindu Muslims, we are Hindu Christians, who were not Hindus who said this. So if that is so, then we just have to recognize our core strength as an Indian citizen. That is our dharmic values.
Absolutely. Going back to a point that you were making again earlier in your earlier in the program during your opening remarks, you were speaking about man making, and coming back to that particular point, there is also a very strong perception amongst the people that the RSS is a male dominant organization and does too much for the men and very little for the women. Your thoughts on that?
See, when RSS started in 1925, its main activity was physical in the Shaka. So you imagine in 1925 or even 1930s or 50s or 60s, even if you go by today, except now that in wrestling there are men-women wrestlings, could you imagine physically men and women playing together? So that kind of hesitation to mix up where highly physical activities may have put Dr. Hedgewar and later on to have an organization for women. Sorry, men. And somewhere around 1936, one lady, Maushi Kelkar, whose son was going to Shaka, he was a widow, she was a widow, and she reached Dr. Hedgewar and said, "You are doing such wonderful work for men. Why don't you do for women also?" He said, "I am not married. I don't understand how women think, how they work, what are the problems that family issues. So I would request you to start an organization. I will support you fully." So then she said, okay, I'll start it. So Appaji Joshi, one of the senior colleague of Dr. Hedgewar, he was deputed to help the lady whatever she wanted to do. So Rashtriya Swayamsevak Samiti was started, which became a very big organization. There are lakhs of women in India today who work with Rashtriya Swayamsevak Samiti, are part of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Samiti. They have Sevika Samitis outside Bharat also in local respective countries, who do physical activities, who do intellectual activities, who are trained in martial arts, and who are taught the best values of Indian values of both independent woman, career woman, and a woman of power, and also a mother. So this particular activity is one. Then there are women in every other organizations, whether it's ABVP, BMS, Vishnu Parishad, Bharatiya Janata Party, etc., etc. In fact, one of the senior workers said that we don't have women in Shakha, but we have women in Sangha. So every aspect of Sangha or Sangha activity, whether it's intellectual activity, whether it's what you call student activity, or activities like prachar, etc. Everywhere there are women. Even in RSS activity of prachar and intellectual activity, there are a lot of women. And of course, across all organizations, there are more women in RSS family as compared to any other organization, including fully women organization. There are more women who have risen through RSS to the top of every organization within RSS to reach the top, whether it's Vishnu Parishad or PMS or ABP, etc. There are full-time women who are working in ABP, Samiti, etc. So women are given huge respect. They are respected not only as just because they are women, because of their activity, because of their strength, and they are there. And if you look at the number of women who have risen in RSS allied organizations, what is the history of very highly liberal left organizations? They had one woman, one woman as member of the Politburo after 90 years or 85 years, and that woman happened to be wife of again a general secretary of the party. If you look at the women organization of RSS, it has more women and more active women as compared to any other female organization. So you don't have to bra burning or talking of all typical Western terms to feminist. We have a different definition of feminism, where we respect the woman as a mother, as a sister, and also as a very active social participant. Mohan Bhagwat ji clearly said that you don't have to guide women, you don't have to do any favor to women, just let them do what they want to, they know what they want to do. So there is a survey of nearly 43,000 women or so 2 years back. The survey was released by RSS chief, and he also advocated this particular data to government, saying please make policies which will allow women to flower into much better capable leaders than what they are doing currently. So that is the attitude of RSS. So it is just a tradition carrying on. But if you go to RSS inspired organizations outside India, in USA, in UK, there are shakas where men and women go together. They play separately. They sit together for their intellectual meetings, and they have mixed responsibilities. Some within the same organization. That's a model those people went out followed. They didn't follow what Indian RSS does. So maybe sometime in India that will also happen. But as Mohan Bhagwatji said, if Sevika Samiti says that we don't want a separate body, we want to merge with Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, we will think, but we will not tell them to do it. They are like two parallel tracks running for a long time. They're highly cooperative with each other, working together, present in all the meetings. But this is what it is today. And as I said, the RSS has been evolving, the organization has been evolving. And as Mohanji clearly said, that this is a possibility which cannot be ruled out if the women organization says we want to be part of RSS, not have a separate identity. That
Absolutely. And
is,
since we are here, I'll come
yeah.
back to the West in just a bit. But carrying on with a point that you made earlier and linking it to this particular answer as well, you spoke about affiliates and you spoke about others who are part of the larger Sangh Parivar. Some of them have gotten into controversy as well. There have been allegations of right wing extremism attached to it. There have been allegations of moral policing as well, who have come out and said women should not be wearing this or should be wearing this and should not be wearing that, and so on and so forth. Your thoughts on that?
See, you have to name what organization you're talking about, because the organization they talk of Mangalore, that was disowned by RSS long back. The person was suspended from RSS even before he created his own organization. That is one. And then any Hindu or any extreme element stands up and says something, you cannot link it to RSS. You have to tell me an organization within RSS, a big organization like Vishindu Parishad or ABVP, which has made some statements. It is not done. It is not acceptable at all. And if within that some person stands up and makes certain statement, for example, I'll give an example how Hindus think sometimes. I was very alarmed. There was a story about women, women Seva Samiti Karyakartis cremating COVID affected bodies in Kutch. When I gave this news in the Twitter, I was hammered by so-called very fiery Hindus saying that लोग आदमी मर गए थे क्या? औरतें काम करती हैं क्या? No, so there are elements within Hindu Samaj who still speak this language. Then similar in Pune also same thing happened. Women cremated bodies. While it is truth that today in India it's part of our culture which has changed over time, that women are allowed to go to cremation ground. They do cremation if the son is not there. It is not anymore that new. And in fact, in Ramayana, all the queens of Dasharath went to his cremation. Somehow in between it happened that women are not allowed to go to cremation ground, or they are allowed. But despite this, I was hammered by so-called Hindus. So such people exist. You cannot wish away their existence. You cannot say that they are madcap people, but they have certain views which RSS doesn't accept. As simple as
So,
that. So
so
you
do these
cannot bunch
people?
everybody together under the label of Hindutva. Hindutva is a sense of how Hinduness thinks, how people think. If somebody still carries on certain 18th and 19th century traditions, we don't go by that. But somebody has a tradition, he will also change over time. The nature of Hindus to keep on evolving with time. Today, somebody says this is not right, then it becomes right. In the VHP introduced priesthood for women. When I talked about somebody, you criticized me. Shastras don't allow this. Shastra don't allow that. Vishnu Parishad promoted every caste, including Dalits, to be trained as priest, and they be appointed a priest along with Tirupati Temple Trust. People are objected to that also. So some people are caught in a certain time frame, certain time bomb, which had over a period of time changed, but they had not changed. So they can today after this interview, somebody will call me and say, "You don't know Agamas. How can I talk about that?" Maybe I don't know. But then somebody who wants to follow the agamas, they follow the agamas. But where it is possible to place women or Dalit into that category where they can be priests, because ultimately karma was the definition of varna. Varna was not defined by birth. Once you accept that progressive thought in dharma, which existed long back, when Dalit, what are called Dalit today, or which we call from socially lower strata of the society could be Brahmins. Vedas was a mixed parentage. His mother was a fisherwoman. Father was a rishi. He became a big rishi. Valmiki, we all know that he was not from the Brahmin caste, what we call caste today. We have examples of so many rishis of the same caliber, which you can talk about. Rahidas, all these gurus, they didn't belong to the so-called high caste, but they were revered. So once you understand this, we'll also understand all these viewpoints that are evolving over time within Hindu Samaj, which was reformed by great Hindu thinkers for a long time. Those thinkers were not kicked out. They were not burnt on stakes. They were not thrown. They were not stones were not thrown at them. They were respected, and many of those practices were taken in by Hindu society, and it evolved.
So Ratanji, so are fringe elements firing from the shoulders of the RSS, and how do you
No,
deal with
they
them?
don't use RSS name. They, in fact, today the situation is they tell RSS you are wrong. Now, situation has come that because of the general consciousness of Hindus having been raised to such a level that we now talk about tradition, history, culture, which nobody talked about. Calling oneself Hindu was a kind of inferiority generating thoughts. So people would keep quiet and say, "I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious." Typical. So you can't simply disown your ancestry. So these people now, because of the rising tide of Hindutva thought, these people want to prove they are more Hindu than Hindu. So they will make this statement not on the shoulder of RSS, but climbing on the shoulder of RSS, using the consciousness which is brought to this level and say, hey, you are not true Hindus. We are better Hindus. You are killing traditions. Yes, you are, spoiling traditions. So they have their own circle. They have their own thought. As I said, people evolve. I would not say I criticize them. Let them criticize me. I am not saying that what they are saying is utterly rubbish. They will also evolve. They will understand slowly, if not today, after 10 years. Because society will keep on moving. It will not wait till, how many reformers in Maharashtra are seeing, for example? Endless. Some practices are dropped, some are not. Can we justify what happened to Sant Gyaneshwar? We cannot. No Hindu ever justifies what happened to Sant Gyaneshwar. What Sant Tukaram was doing? Everybody is a reformist. So this reformist angle of Hindu Dharma is to be appreciated. Some people get reformed today, some don't. There are people, despite all the work done, who believe in untouchability even today. You go to Tamil Nadu, there are still some people. They will change. We cannot banish them. We cannot hate them. They will understand. They will change.
And my final set of questions to you, because we are running out of time and I know you have to be elsewhere as well. You spoke about the West, and this is something that I want to touch upon. And we were talking about perceptions also earlier. There is a perception which has a very negative connotation attached to the RSS when it comes to the West and Western media. Why is that so?
Well, it has been projected from India, first of all. Secondly, earlier all the academic institutions were funded by church, the organized youth church. So that is why the thinking was always cropping out of the Christian theology. In fact, Wendy Doniger herself is part of a seminary. I don't remember the name now. So many of them. Then there are MNCs, so thought process changed, but MNCs were also generally they didn't change the ideological mooring. Now then petrodollars came, then further down, so you respect Islam, but you don't respect Hindus. So this anti-Hindu sentiment is carried forward of the British Empire time. One. Secondly, it was further nurtured by our own secular crowd, our own left crowd, because they hate religion, they hate everything dharmic, they hate Bharat's ancient heritage because they remove every kind of knowledgeable heritage from every textbook. We don't even know the advances we made in mathematics, metallurgy, chemistry, surgery. We can't talk about that even now because of internet. Now young people know how many people knew about it. Dharam, the first Dharampalji wrote the book in somewhere in 1960 about Indian science and technology in 18th century using British documents. but they were suppressed. That book was never available. Our entire textbook, our syllabus, our entire intellectual uh, knowledge is that we were useless people, we were casteist people, we killed women, we killed children, we did nothing good. That is the definition of Hinduism that has been transported to West. So entire basic thought is built on that. And secondly, this Hindu is so funny because they don't understand Hinduism, they don't understand Hindu Dharma. And who is telling us? The most exclusive religions, the Thekedas of religions of Islam and Christianity, which is basically an exclusivist religion, with all due respect to you, which says that only my God is true, my faith is good. If you are not following my God, you are a fallen person, you are a sinful person. So to save you, I must convert you. So you don't respect other religion. You at the most tolerate those religions, or you simply don't. In fact, in I think year 2000, Swami Dayanand Saraswati insists in the World Parliament that you should say we respect our religions. There was 2 days debate, and they were going to drop the resolution. Then finally they agreed. But within a month, a church document came up saying we don't believe that all the religions are same or equally respectable. If that is the attitude, and those people tell us what is wrong with Hindu Dharma, it is laughable. So we have to correct the perception. In fact, I have been telling my friends in UK, USA, that stop worrying about India. We will take care. We do what we want to do for our India and your India also. We are sitting here. We'll do what we want to do. Please see to it how you can change perception of the Western world, which is being created over last so many years with very strong effort and very solid work of academia. It may be biased. If a person like named Kripal from West Indies or Trinidad, I think he goes and under Wendy Donegal creates an entire hoax that Swami Paramahansa was XYZ. I won't like to name because it is total insult of that particular great man, and that is accepted as a universal truth. And when Swamiji of Ramakrishna Mission writes a counter to that, that is not then published, not taken into libraries as a reference material countering Kripal's ideas, built upon no knowledge of how we work, all second hand. That is the kind of Hindu phobia that has been created in West.
Very
That is to
quickly,
be that is to be
Ratanji,
corrected. Yeah, that is to be
Ratanji, very
corrected. So
quickly.
I'm just
Yeah.
one example. I can give you so many examples. You have to read just one book by Rajiv Malhotra, which I don't remember the writer. The first book he wrote, where he talked about how Hindu gods, Hindu culture tradition is continuously abused and misrepresented by the academic side of Western world. And I don't remember the name now. Sorry, I had the book. I'll tell you some other time. So this particular book, if you'll be shocked as an Indian who is a Christian, you can't believe this is the way Hindus are being presented in the academic world.
And
Highly
very quickly,
abusive.
before I let you go, Ratanji, very quickly, since we are here, I'm sorry, I know time is running out, but I have to ask you this question. Is a concerted effort being made by the West and in the Western world to put down India?
See, Western world from its origins, from the time of empire building and imperialism, would not allow any other country to rise, even within their own circles. Then World War Two, World War One, World War Two, what was they? A fight for supremacy. Because they want to control natural resources, they want to control the world by controlling the resources through whatever means. They use religion, they use everything to justify their exploitation. So that is how the entire thought process goes, that only I am best, everybody else is to be suppressed. So they cannot really, many people cannot adjust to the reality that India can again become great because they know it was great once. We all know. Till 1850, we know the strength of India has a scientific and economic power. So this, see, we believe in, as a Hindu Dharma, as Hindus of India, we believe in cooperative existence. But West doesn't believe in cooperative existence. There are many thinkers who talk, but basically it is survival of the fittest. Yet in the mind of the people, it is survival of the fittest. So they will see to it that whether Africa or India, it's not just India. Look at how they treat Africa. They have kept on exploiting Africa where some country doesn't bow down to their wishes, that countries attacked directly, indirectly, destroyed, partitioned. What is Middle East story? Is only Islam to blame for that? They have used Islam to destroy the entire Middle East civilization, entire Middle East region for petrol. So this is the way they behave. They want to control the resources. It can be given any ideological color, any kind of democratic cover. If democracy is so important for the Americans, who are till now the #1 world cop, why did they always prefer dictators? How many democracies did they support? Libya was destroyed because it wanted to come back to gold standard as foreign exchange linkage, if you know the story. And it was destroyed. So anybody trying to be independent is destroyed. You destroyed secular, comparatively secular Saddam Hussein, and created an entire war between different sects of Islam. So this attitude of having some kind of control of others' destiny is inherent, which was not yet left these people. Trump was the first one, much maligned guy, who said, "I don't want to populate the world. I don't want to, be the Superman for all the countries. I want to look after America." And that is how slowly American hegemony, went back, a little softened. But that is the truth. China has China has a very ancient philosophy which doesn't believe in aggressive behavior, but then they have mixed this up with very, very supremacist religion like communism. Communism is nothing but a religion, as exclusive, as totalitarian as any other Abrahamic religion. So this is the fate of this world. That is why I'm saying that Hindu dharmic concept and Bharatiya dharmic concept have to reach out to the world to understand that we must coexist as a family, and we must adjust with each other. The entire vaccine policy of Modi ji is that only, that we must support each other. He could have said, like, American president, no, first I'll treat only my people. So this spirit of India is what is needed as spirit of the universe. That is when we talk of Vishwa Guru Bharat, not World Power Bharat.
Absolutely. Ratan Sharda ji, a pleasure having you on Bharata First. Thank you so much for joining me on the program. And before I go, let me inform you about Bharata First Knowledge Center, an initiative that will help each one of you and transform the way you learn. You can go to our website kc.bharatafirst.com for more details. Register now and avail the limited period early bird offer. It's a learning experience like none other, and it will not only help you in your competitive exams journey, but help you in life itself and make you a better Bharatiya. Thank you once again for your continued support. For those of you who haven't already subscribed, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then all notifications. Do follow our social media handles for all the latest updates, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter to get some incisive content. The Bharata First team runs a daily Big Picture quiz. Please do participate by going through the description in Big Picture videos. Here are the UPI IDs for those of you who would like to come forward and contribute. A small contribution that you make will be a giant leap for us to keep bringing you this content. So do continue to show your love and support. I need it now more so than ever. All this information, along with some must-see recommendations, are in the description of this video. Please go through it. That's it from me. See you again next time.